Good morning. It's Monday morning, about 9 a.m., end of July. How was everyone's summer? Mine's been pretty much a catch up because I've done my degree and I did it like in no more than 3 years. So I worked through all my summers. So this is my first summer off in like 4 years. So just been doing a lot of catch up and finally doing this channel because I think that there's a lot of needed discussions in the whole realm of CPS and the court systems. Um, so I have some time off, so let's talk about some things. Okay. So I want to talk about a lot of the things I want to talk about here and all of that. And things that come up that I see like in social media. Now, I was clicking through yesterday on a break, and I follow families, groups of families that are suffering and need help when their children have been removed, or if DCF is just like knocking on their door with generally, in a lot of cases, false allegations, or over exaggerated. But somehow in the algorithm, they figured I wanted to hear from foster parents and was started showing some pro foster parent groups, which I want no part of. None. Zero. Zero. I have almost little to no patience with adoptive parents and foster parents. Mostly because many of them have the hero savior complex. And even if children that had grown up in their home, foster or adoptive, have a different view of how they were raised by the actuality, and what the foster or adoptive parent think that they were the savior that, um, you know, made all the difference in this child, when these people are saying like I had a messed up childhood. She maybe they were physically abusive, but they were mentally, emotionally, and verbally abusive, which is just as detrimental. So there was this woman that did a video, and I don't know if she was a foster parent, and I hoped, gosh, she wasn't, because her vernacular was atrocious. I mean, she just didn't sound like she got very far in school. Um, and not to say that parents that don't get very far in school are the worst. Um, but if you want children to be taken care of, you have to think of their educational stance too. And that's something you can help parents with. You can TCF and CPS, they can always help parents, you know, get better schooling, get better jobs. There's just so many things that can be done. Or these nonprofit groups can do to help families strengthen themselves. you know, is maybe getting a GED gonna better a family? Sure, of course it can. Um, and it can help them go on to undergrad school. There's just so many ways that we can help poor families. Uh, and I know some are generational, and like me, I'm the first of I don't know how many family members that graduated with a degree. My parents didn't. I know my father was in the military and then worked for many years before he retired, but none of that. So she was going on, this woman in this video was like, if I had to have my children taken, I would be so grateful that they were put into a wonderful foster home. First of all, how do we know it's a wonderful foster home? CPS will lie and cover for bad foster parents. And if you all know that, raise your hand and put it in your comments. Children will lie because they're told to lie. A lot of children are too afraid to come out and say, this is what's going on in my foster or adoptive home. We all know that. We know that's a fact. A lot of children are homeschooled, so they can't say, I'm being put in a cage, or I'm living in the basement, or I'm called a piece of crap every single day of my life, whatever it is. We know a lot of times children won't come out. Maybe they don't know any different, or they're just in fear to say anything. So we know that there's a lot of cover up. I mean, come on. We know there is a lot of cover up. To pretend there isn't is what's wrong with society, because it is all a cover up. Let's not forget that. So, reading in the comments, and this really, really ticked me off, and this is what's bringing me to do this video today. So one of the people in there were like, we do for these children when the family doesn't step up. That's such a crap narrative. That is such a crap narrative. Narrative one, families don't want them. I can't even tell you, and you can even look in a lot of the appeals, the case law, and just how often grandparents are denied, or cousins, aunts and uncles, other family members are straight out denied. And even if they're originally given visitation in the beginning, usually it's stripped away because they want to break the bond with the parent and any family relatives. That's their goal, to do that. And I want people's comments, because I do read a lot of this on social media of how this happens, and how it's such a common thing. Now, I'm not giving legal advice. I can't give legal advice, but it is a known fact that in any case, if you think you're an interested party, you can intervene, or you can at least motion to and try to fight to intervene in a case. So that's what I did. So I'm not telling you legal advice. I'm telling you my experience advice. So I did do a motion to intervene, and I was denied. Just the motion to intervene. I helped raise these children, and they lived with me most of their life. And I'll also talk eventually, when I can figure out how to show documents on the screen, I will show you, like, some of the ways they try and get around cutting the family out, because they do. They want to cut the family out for many, many reasons. One is it's just financially better to keep children in and out of foster care. And and excuse me. And like, answer me this. If you guys are the savior of these children and you're doing it for the right reasons, and foster parents are the gold standard, why are children that are in foster care, if they're ever adopted or even before they're adopted, there's so many foster transitions? If you're the savior, the gold standard, why can't that child stay in your home? What are you doing that child can no longer stay in your home? right? I mean, if you're the pinnacle of success as a foster parent, why are they moved from your home? Is it that you cannot handle children? Is it that you want these little perfect children? You want them at a certain age, and as they get older, they're just not fun anymore? Like, what is it? Why is it that you're abusive and they want to take these children out so they can't tell on you? Like, why? Why are children moved from foster home to foster home to foster home? If you watch the movie, it was called White Oleander, which delved into a girl whose mother, Michelle Pfeiffer, who I forgot about this movie, because she went to jail and she was in many foster cares, and I think it probably portrays it very well as to reasons why she was moved around. Because although you have a savior complex, you're just as human as anyone else. You're as faulty as anyone else. So when I hear this person say, we step up when family can't, listen, family steps up. DCF shoots them down for so many reasons, and they falsify records and they lie about these grandparents. I passed two home studies. One was a private home study, which is way more intrusive than a DCF placement home study. I did an adoption home study. That's so intrusive. So it through like everything. Your criminal records, your finances. They talk to friends and other family. It's just very, very intrusive. Which, okay, I'm an open book. That's why I'm doing this because I'm an open book. But and a lot of family members don't know what to do. They're like, my grandkids, my nieces and nephews are in foster care. And what can we do? Because DCF won't tell them, courts won't tell them. And sometimes some of them have to get to a lawyer, but some people just can't afford lawyers. And let's not even pretend anymore. Lawyers are for rich people and politicians, as is the courts. When they don't even let you have any legitimate standing, even as a pro se person. And I had a lawyer through my motion to intervene, and she put in the petition, but she was garbage. And I will show you how I think a lot of lawyers either kowtow to CPS or are in their pockets. And I'm starting to believe she was, because she used to work for DCF before she went into private family practice. So, and the ABA doesn't do, and the Bar Association does not almost nothing. There's like, you will find out that there are only certain things that the government cares about, and it's usually tied to money. They'll go after lawyers who steal from the trust accounts they set up for clients. But they can just be as deceptive and skeezy as anything else. Just completely break all the canons, and they don't care. They just don't care. Our society, with the overlapping security we should have in our government, it's a joke. It's like non-existent. Um, and CPS workers, they can lie in court, they can falsify records in court, and that's okay. But God forbid you lie in a report that says you went to go visit a foster care, or a child in foster care, and you didn't. You just lied and said you did. Well, that's also atrocious. But you know I think they know that if they went after DCF workers, CPS workers, for every illegal thing they did, they wouldn't have any left. Because that's just how bottom of the barrel that CPS workers have become. They're just, I don't have anything good to say about them. Back in the day, back in the 90s, um, when I worked with CPS for my children's mental health issues, all of my workers were like licensed social workers. They had degrees. Today, it's like, you're lucky they have a diploma. Like, how pathetic is that? That's so pathetic because a high school diploma does not train you in the needs of a child and the emotional, mental, physical, educational needs of a child. It just doesn't. So this whole false narrative that family doesn't want these children, no, it's mostly about money. And another thing is, and the court don't let's not pretend the courts get money from federal funds. So it's always meant to be adversarial in family court. And we need to change that. And we need to change the narrative that only one parent's a good parent. That's it's not true. All right, so false narrative number 2 when it comes to foster care and kinship care, that some foster parents, but mostly CPS, will do this narrative that you have a bad parent or two bad parents. So let's just say you have one bad parent. Their whole narrative is that whole family tree that branches out, grandparents, aunts and uncles, cousins, and a lot of families are really close knit. So that means cousins are very close and second cousins. Like this, this aggravates me about my husband, who's Southern. Like to him, like his first, second, third, fourth, seventh removed cousins, his cousin. So when he says my cousin, I don't realize it's like his actual father's cousin. You know what I mean? To me, my cousin is the children of my father or mother's siblings. To me, that's a cousin. That's just how I was raised. But to him, anything that's not like your aunt and uncle or grandparents, anything else in that tree is a cousin. Even if it's your father's cousins or your grandparents' cousins and their children, they're all, and that drives me crazy because I just want to know, like, who's like your age related cousin that you grew up with? Like me, I grew up with some of my cousins. Um, and even lived with them. So, so that's just like crazy. But some families are so close that, your 40-year-old cousin of your father, is so close to you, you think of them as a cousin. So let's just take this whole family tree. And, if you know your cousin, your second, third, fourth cousin very well, chances are they know and they were raised and they love your children as much as you love theirs. So this whole family tree, like nobody wants them, or and that the whole tree is rotted. First of all, that's predicated on that the parents are actually bad parents. Because we all know that the majority of the cases that come through CPS that children are removed from or that have safety plans or what other plans are neglect. It's not straight out SA abuse or actual physical abuse. The majority of it's neglect. Like you've got a filthy house. Or you don't take your kids to the doctors, or your kids are truant in school, or there's just many things they come up with. And it's always what's good what's oh, how's that saying? How's that saying? Oh, well, it's double standard. They can be drug addicts. CPS workers can be drug addicts, alcoholics. They can live in squalor, but that's okay. You can't. So first of all, it's predicated that the parent really truly is a bad seed, which chances are they aren't. But you're thinking that because you've got one bad apple here dangling from this branch, that every other apple off of that tree and branch is also just as bad. I don't buy that. I don't. Because first of all, you're on that predication that that parent's really, really, really bad. When it might just be they were never taught how to properly diaper a child, or they never taught. And listen, I had 4 kids and friends and stuff like that. No matter, they come to you for advice and they never listen to you. Like, kids are always think that they know better than the parents. How many can, like, you tell your kid, don't do this, they do the opposite. They screw up, then you have to come and fix it, right? They call you up. Oh, remember that car you told me I shouldn't buy because it was making this really bad noise, but I really wanted it? Well, the engine just blew, 3 days after owning it. Well, I told you not to buy the car. So now what do I have to do? Oh, I have to go get a loan to put in an engine to help you because you got a baby, It never ends. Children, they don't want to listen, but when they screw up, they want you to bail them out. And this kind of, so when you sometimes tell your children, do this, keep your house a little bit cleaner and stuff like that, they just don't like want to listen. So the government comes in and tells them what to do. But and this also comes to there's also two different camps on, and I'll talk about this, I'll take a little bit more, maybe I'll do a separate thing. So I like when I was in Massachusetts, my daughters went through a phase of like they would take off, they wouldn't come home, they sneak out of the house, stuff like that. And because I was voluntarily involved with CPS, DSS is what it was called in Massachusetts Department of Social Services. They, I don't remember what got it initiated. I don't know if they told us to do it, they did it, or they told us how to go about it. But and I think this is different in different states. So I'm just going to tell you about my experience in Massachusetts with, which is called a CHINS, a Child in Need of Services, and this might be different for different situations in other states. But what this did was for my daughters who were, just become unruly. They didn't want to listen to the parents, and you know they were taking off, weren't able to be found, stuff like that. It- um so what happened is it's through the courts. A case is initiated through the courts, and a contract is written up. They're given a probation officer, and a contract is written up. And now I don't know if I can't remember if it was through criminal court, juvenile court, family court. Honestly cannot remember that. I don't think I still have the documents for that because we're talking. This was like early 2000s, so I'd say at least 25 years ago. And so yeah, so he come to the house, make sure they're doing what they were supposed to do. Um, but I am thinking this was through like juvenile criminal court because I think if they weren't doing what they were supposed to do, that uh it would become It would become, I think, like where they would get in trouble through the courts. So I'm not quite sure. I could probably try and research it and look into it, and maybe do a separate video on it. But that's kind of basically how it was. I know eventually we moved out of Massachusetts to Florida, and yeah, my daughter's kept up their garbage in Florida. Um, but let's not believe this false narrative that CPS puts out that no one in the family can take these children because no one's either stepped up or is of the echelon that foster parents are. I don't care what you all say or believe, but you're never going to tell me that foster parents have more love for a child, more natural, biological love for a child than their relatives. You'll never change my belief on that. Never. Um, and I think I'll do another video after this. Like right after this, I think I'll do another video, and we're gonna talk about foster parents because there was another mother, foster mother that came from foster care that was also in that. Um, so I think I'm gonna do another video, and we're gonna kind of discuss this and what I've seen. Okay, so give me your comments and all of that, and let's see what we think about this false narratives that DCF CPS puts out saying, the parents are this, the parents are that, yada yada yada. Um and I was talking about, like, and I think I'll do another whole separate thing, like, should parents should CPS be and dependency, should that be through civil courts or criminal courts? And can we put parents on like a pins, a parent in need of services, where it's through like a criminal court? And if there are parents that are abusing children, like seriously abusing children in any form, like that should be criminal. And and that, sure, we'll do criminal and we'll do. Why can't everything just go through criminal court? And in criminal court, you just make the parents do what they're supposed to do, like in a contract, and get this whole civil mess out of it, where it's all about making money, right? It's all about foster care, and then the criminal court can figure out where can these children stay if they really need to leave. Because is a child really, really, really in imminent danger of death because the mother's house is a cluster fuck of a mess? No, they're not. Because they need dental work? No, they're not. This whole knee-jerk reaction, just pull the kid out because we need more commodity. We need to keep our foster parents in like 10 kids in their 2-bedroom, right? So I'm going to do a video about that next. Probably won't be very long, but yeah, I will do a video next about, foster parents who have one or two children versus those that have like 8 to 12. So we'll talk about that soon. All right. Um please send me comments. I really want to hear what you think. I really, really do, because that's how things work. Is like, if we have a discussion, even if you don't agree with me, or even if you agree with me but you have your own view or stance on it, that's great too. But we won't get anywhere if we don't have the discussion. All right. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Um, I'm going to do another video. That'll just be a short one about foster parents. But thanks so much. Bye.